Hey everyone, welcome to a wonderful conversation. I hope, and I know it will be because Cam's been inspiring me even before I hit record. Cam King, you're transforming brains, you're helping people find their optimal potential. Starting with yourself, it comes an inside job, right? Inside out. Rewiring your brain to redesign your life is one of your logos. And I think that's really cool. Thanks for being in, an open space to be able to have this conversation today. I really appreciate it. How are you?
It's my pleasure, Jen. Thanks. I do work with a lot of people on helping them reframe certain life situations, and it's very rewarding, right? As you know, being an author. So I really appreciate you having me here.
Well, so I watched on your Instagram, you had, I guess this was an old video, you had watched, or sorry, no, you'd listened to one of my books, Psychics, Mediums, and Healers, a few years back. You tagged, or your team tagged, or whatever, a review because you read a lot of spiritual books, you absorb a lot of content, love that. And I told you I was pissed off that I got a 7.1 out of 10, but I'll get over that. It's okay. It's all right. It's still cool. You still gave it some good thumbs up. You gave us some kudos. But the fact that you are doing this kind of work, not a lot of men, I'll tell you, I've been doing this work now a couple of decades. And we used to joke it would be like a lot of women and a few good men. And now it's starting to tip where more and more men want to evolve, hold themselves accountable, become emotionally intelligent, and just do the work. And you, as a Green Beret, you're used to doing the work. But when did you know you wanted to do the spiritual work? When did you start diving into that?
Oh, that's a great question. I think, my story, I was raised by a single mother who had me at 19, right? And she could have aborted me and she chose not to. And my biological father was abusive to her during that. And my grandfather, my family was Catholic, almost encouraged my mother to get an abortion. So I remember knowing these things as a kid, and my mother eventually married her high school sweetheart. But it was my grandfather that raised me in like those really formative years, and I was a rebellious teenager, but it was my grandfather that raised me because he had three daughters, and now he had a grandson with the last name King. And so he put a lot of pressure on me to, like live and be as great as I could, right? To carry on the family legacy and all that. So I remember asking God to make me strong and make me tough and make me wise as a kid. And eventually my grandmother left my grandfather and he killed himself on my 21st birthday, right? And I got a card in the mail that said, "Shoot for the stars, kid." And I was like, I remember for like 3 or 4 years, I was so in shock and just purely catatonic and running, right? I was drinking, partying, seeing a bunch of women, just being a destructive hellion of a person. Eventually, I met a woman who made me feel like for the first time in years. We dated for 7 years and it was a good relationship. But when that relationship dissolved, I was in Denver. We had just moved to Denver. And all of a sudden, I was 30, week after my 30th birthday. I had no idea who I was. I had no idea who I was. I was working in advertising and I moved, got a new job in advertising on the West Coast. And then I got laid off due to COVID. Then I moved back to Denver because I was still a resident of Colorado. And that's when I started CK Collective. And I really started CK Collective, obviously, as a way to like, make money and live. But that really began my spiritual journey. I worked with three mentors and I just started reading every single book under the sun to figure out like, how did my life get here? This isn't the life I ordered,
Hey.
right? And and I just was like, I got obsessed with doing the work, right? Breath work, meditation, psychics, just all of these Reiki things, all of these new things that I had never come across that they don't teach you in school or anything. Like you have to seek out this path yourself. It's always been there, but getting in touch with my intuition, going back to church, developing spiritual practices, and eventually I said, what is the one thing that I needed? What is the toughest thing that I can do? And I was like, well, I'm gonna go be a Green Beret because that's the toughest thing I could think of. And I went and I did that, and it took me a couple of years, and it was really hard physically, mentally, but emotionally, I'd already been through the most difficult things of my life. So on the emotional front, it was relatively easy.
Right.
Um, and now I teach people, I say, hey, look, I've been in your shoes or very similar things.
Right.
And there are
Right.
key points I've identified here that if you leverage and you create these cornerstone habits, these will be the things that carry the rest of your life forward. These are the things that will save you. And that's what I teach people.
I think that's really wise that you can acknowledge that. Also, too, I tell people that if you don't understand it, you can't coach people about it. So all these horrible things are really happening for you, not to you. And they're happening for you so that you can have the knowledge to help people walk through this. And in all of that seeking and questing that you've been doing, the breath work is huge. I mean, huge. I tell people, and I mean, I've gone to jungles and taken things and puked on my shoes and the whole bit, but breath work is just as powerful, and you don't have to worry about what's going to happen after you ingest it. Like the breath is so underrated. That EMDR is another kind of therapy that I highly recommend for neurological, for trauma, especially healing. I have a friend who's a therapist, and she's worked with the firefighters and first responders from 9/11, and EMDR is helping them crack open and heal those neural pathways. And that's why I think it's so important. We have so much trauma, and you especially with not only what happened with your parents, but then with your grandfather. In your travels of talking to people who do have intuitive abilities, have you been able to get a conversation with your grandfather that you feel was really authentic, that helped you?
Yeah, I've gone to see a few mediums as well as master Reiki people, and there are people out there that truly have a gift,
Yeah,
like without a doubt. And I've connected with them even as I walk in the woods. Even though I'm Catholic, I have a personal relationship with gods and the divine and my ancestors, and I speak to them often, right?
yeah,
Times where I feel that I'm asking for strength, or hey, I need you to carry me through this day or this hour or this minute. I remember even in special forces selection, like I remember being like, Jesus Christ, if you just help me find this one point that I need to get to, I will go to church every single day for the rest of my life. Right. And then like 30 minutes later, boom, there it is. Every single time that I reached out to a higher power after already having established that thing, I've never been let down. The universe only says three things. It either says yes, yes, but not right now, and yes, but we have something better for you. Do you want that?
right, right.
And that knowing that life always works out for you and you never lose, you either win or you learn is that's really saved me. And I know it saved a lot of other people as well.
So, what do you suggest when you see some of these people that reach out and they want the quick fix, they want the quick answer? I find with a lot of people that I work with and counsel that they just want to, they want it's this reward because of these dang devices giving everybody everything in such an amazingly rapid fire. That's how they want their life to be, like one of these trailers in a movie, just like bam, 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 bam. So to these entitled people out there, and they don't understand like hard work and grit, there is some ease and grace though that can come when you get in alignment. So it's like that two pronged approach, right? You have to do the work, and yet you have to believe that there is flow when you commit to being in that divine light. I say, like, get in the light lane and you won't go wrong. Like, don't be tempted by this crap over here and the dark shit over there. The light lane is the only way to go. And it might take some hard work, but once you're in the flow, it's a go. How do you deal with people who want it like now?
Yeah, living a life of being in love
Yeah,
or just allowing things
yeah,
and bathing in that light is awesome.
yeah.
But it makes people vulnerable and puts them at risk, right? You can't be in love with someone and not also be in risk. And I think people are always looking for a way to mitigate their own vulnerability while getting the results that they want, while also not being patient. So it's very easy for me to ascertain when someone reaches out if they just want a quick answer or not, or if there are people that are willing to do the work. And in my community, we have astrologers, we have people that do ayahuasca retreats, we have authors, we have lawyers, we have doctors, and these are all people that are largely doing the work. And they're vulnerable and they have messy lives and things don't work out, but we're there to support each other, right? In the good times and the bad times.
Mhm.
Some people just aren't ready, Jen.
Yeah.
You know that. And when it's very easy to see. Some people just aren't ready because it's
Right.
very difficult to live in that light lane, as you call it. It's a great metaphor.
Mhm.
They're just not ready.
They're not ready. And you can't force somebody to go down the light lane. Like you can give them the GPS and be like, hey, let's go. You got this. And they're like, okay. And they're there for a little while and then they're like, eh. I always say, like, sometimes, your demons are gaining on you. You have a choice. You can either slow down and let them catch up or keep going. You can do this. And I know emotionally sometimes it's hard to keep going, but that sprint, and you know this because you work out, that last sprint sometimes is your best. Even
Mhm.
though when you think you're just dog tired and you can't do it.
Yeah. I I tell my clients one of the first things that I have them do is I have them sit in a dark room for an hour. No phone. Set a timer on your phone, put it outside the room, close the door, get an eye mask, get a blanket, sit there for 1 hour. No laying down, but like sit in a meditative position. And most of the time they're like they fail the first time. They're like, I can't do it. And I'm like, you're supposed to feel the things that you're feeling. All those demons, all those failures, insecurities, traumas, all of that, let them wash over you. Because they can run and they can make and they can yell in your face and they can do all these things and make you feel like you have imposter syndrome. But then after 10 or 15 minutes, you realize that they don't actually like being in the light. They fall asleep, they wither away, they disappear, they evaporate. And
Right,
then after that, period of silence, and then about 30, 40 minutes in, boom, your intuition is coming in and it's speaking to you, arguably for the first time,
right,
telling you what to do, giving you the next step, giving you that comfort. And now that you've established that connection, it's up to you to continue to facilitate that because you know once your intuition is with you and you go to throw away something or you don't return a grocery cart and your intuition is like, hey man, return that grocery cart, right? Hey man, go pick up that banana peel that you clearly missed the trash can and thought you were just gonna walk past, like, like we're watching, and you're like,
right.
okay.
I said
So
this to someone recently. I was like, God's watching, your dead dad's watching, my dead dad's watching. Now tell me those lies again.
yeah,
The thing is like we think that just because there's no witness like sitting right across from us, that's never, that come on. And that's the thing. God, God knows. I've been calling it God Almighty Creator lately because this one healer told me God has sort of to some people, oh God, God, God. And people use that word and it loses its potency almost from a frequency standpoint. But when you stop and say Almighty Creator, that's like
oh, yeah,
king, it's like dang, that just that holds a resonance. That's like, so that's in a field. So I'll be like, Almighty Creator is always listening and they're hearing conversations that you don't hear. They're seeing actions that you don't see. So the minute that you think you have a better GPS than the Almighty Creator, than the AC, no, no, no. Like they've got a better GPS. And so as micro as we feel every bruise is for our journey, it's so much more macro. You got to go macro and really go high so that you can picture what's going on from a global perspective for your life. Even though your choices in every minute of every day matter, it's so hard though. It's still hard to do that every minute of every day.
it's so hard because I mean I struggle with my own impatience, and I was in Charleston, South Carolina, the other day. And I've been doing some spinal energetic work and some Reiki stuff and a lot of therapy because I lost a child recently. And I remember I woke up one day, I'm super in my ego, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna run. Ran for an hour, lifted for an hour, still super in my ego, ripped a like pretty spicy video. I thought it was helpful, but it was very egotistical in nature. It was, and I'm not proud of it, even though it went viral. But I'm not proud of the message that I set forth because that wasn't the example that I want to set for my clients. However, I remember coming back to the hotel room and I started crying and I got down on my knees and I said, God, I don't know how or why this happened or why you took it away. I understand it's not my job to ask. You created this perfectly curated arrow to trigger me into healing my inner child and to stop trying to save my own inner child and to be a more whatever. And it was like, boom, it was like lightning hit me. And it was like, this is exactly why we did this, so that you stop trying to save yourself, so that when you are ready to be a father, you can be a more present father, more fulfilling father, and not be in this pattern of trying to heal your own wounded inner child. Like, we need you to heal this before you can do this. And I just started bawling. I was like, there's no way I could have done that if I didn't surrender to that process.
Right.
Um,
That higher
and
power. And I
it
think
was
too, the relationships that come up that push on our bruises are the ones, people are like, well, it should be easy. It should be great. It should be carefree.
yeah,
Actually, I disagree. I think the best relationships are the ones that challenge you to call you on your bullshit because, everybody could be like, oh, they're so wonderful. They're so this. But like when the real raw, like love, when
yeah,
someone really loves you, they're willing to say, hey, that thing you did that hurt. So let's
yeah,
talk about that. But a lot of people, when it gets difficult, is when they cut bait and they jump ship. Would you agree?
yeah. And that's the surface world that we live in. And here's a good part. Here's a good and bad part about this. The
Okay.
good and bad part about this is that it's waking a lot of people up and encouraging them to go on the spiritual path,
Right.
which is great. You and I are on it. Doesn't matter where we are. We're on a different spiritual plane because we're aware of this stuff and continuing to work on this. The work never stops.
Right.
However, most people that you see like to watch reality TV or eat Oreos and watch Netflix and just make money and then go out drinking and just remain in a low vibration thing, even if they're posting all of these amazing highlight reels on Instagram and trying to get as many followers and wearing revealing clothing and having surface level sex. They don't know the raw aspects of life. And which one would you rather have?
Mhm.
It's one or the other. Unfortunately, the majority of people choose the easier path,
Right.
but the
You did
most
a video, you had a video about manifesting, Cam, that I want to put a flashlight on. And I don't know how long ago that was, if that was a recent one or if that was one that was like that you did a while back that they are re-rotating for you. But when you write something down for 5 days, 55
okay.
times. And I think I shared that in my stories because I was like, all right, that's so is this something you're currently in right now?
Got it right here, Jen. I
There
just
we
finished
go.
day 5 yesterday.
You did? Okay, I'm on day 4 after I watched it, so I've got day 5 tomorrow. So I'll let you know. I don't want to say anything until it happens. I'll let you know if it pans out. But let's talk about that for the audience that doesn't know what we're talking about and how you've noticed this working because it sounds almost too good to be true, but you're saying you've gotten great results with it because what it does is it activates so many different things cognitively and your mind and your speaking things. So go ahead and explain what it is.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Neville Goddard and Earl Nightingale. If a lot of people don't know who Earl Nightingale is, but even Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, like Bob Barker, all not Bob Barker, Bob Proctor.
You're from The Price is Right.
Yeah, Bob Proctor. I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of all of this stuff. Everyone's
Yeah.
heard of the law of attraction, but people don't know the Hermetic principles, which are super important. So, like reading a book like The Kabbalion is really, really important. But as above, so below. Okay. And the law of allowing. And you said it earlier, setting your intention is the most powerful thing a person can do. So when you take a sentence that you want, whether it includes a person or you want to make $10,000 or you want to heal some sort of thing and you want something to happen, you write that sentence out like it's already done.
Mhm. Right. I always say to people, say, thank you for blah, 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 or I call in blah, 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 or yours that you give the example, I bought my house from my landlord. No, like just a statement.
Perfect.
Mhm.
That was the last time, ironically, I did the 5 by 55. I think that was last year, obviously. And I
Mhm.
just read it again because it's scary. I'm like 12 for 12 all time. It's scary,
Right.
but it sets your intention because you're connecting your heart, your brain, your mind, your spirit, your body, your soul, and you're creating something that's internal.
Mhm.
And then you're creating it in your physical reality, and then you're reinterpreting it through your eyes and your brain. So you're creating a positive feedback loop. And just the sheer resonance of you writing that out for 5 days, 55 times per day, and then reading it out loud 55 times per day. They call it spelling because you're casting a spell, right? When you speak you're
Right.
always casting spells, which I tell my clients, hey, we're going to stop using these words. I want you reframe that story. You just said, oh, I don't do this, or this always happens to me. No, we're going to reframe that right now.
Right.
So I use NLP in my coaching as well. But when you do the 5 by 55, you set it and forget it. That's your intention.
Mhm.
You're taking 15, 20 minutes to write out something 55 times, and then you're saying to the universe, I would like you, here is my order.
Mhm.
Please see this and handle this. And usually within 30 days. One time I think it took me 37 days.
37, but who was counting? 37
Yeah.
days. Yeah, yeah.
But
Mhm.
I will do my 5 by 55 and then I will give it 30 days.
Right. Okay.
So I'm giving it to the end of August for that thing to happen, and that's fine. I've done it with money before, I've done it whatever else, but I teach my clients manifesting costs you energy. You're financing things with your own energy.
Right.
So if you're trying to finance or control someone else's free will and you don't have the energetic currency to do so, that is going to be debilitating for you because you are going to start to question or doubt it, right?
Mhm.
One time I did it with I think 5 grand. I said I made $5,000. I got a random check for $5,000. I got a refund check for my mortgage for like 4,700 bucks, and I was like,
There you go.
this
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 works.
doesn't not work. I promise you it does.
That's so cool. Somebody said they put out a dollar amount and it's like, well, don't limit it. Like I saw a guy who had a vision board and he was just putting, I earn $200,000 of that. I said, well, now you've just ruled yourself out of winning the lottery because you're only
Yeah,
saying 200,000. Like cast a wider net and just say, I earn the kind of money that helps me do what I love, pay all my bills, and I can buy my house, or like you said, I bought my, I am buying, or was it I will
No,
buy?
I bought. I don't like saying I will or
Okay,
I will have. I like saying like it's complete because
right,
if you train your brain, your subconscious brain doesn't know the difference between an imagined event and a
yeah,
real one.
right.
So if I tell my subconscious brain, hey man, we bought this house. The
Mhm.
subconscious brain goes to work to facilitate the things needed to change your micro and your macro actions on a daily basis. This is how we co-create and this is how we co-manifest is by
Mhm.
setting that intention, but starting at the end and then
Right.
allowing us to kind of work backwards from there.
Yeah. Okay. Definitely. So for the listener out there and the viewer out there, depending on where people are hearing this or watching this, is your dog at the door?
No, she just farted and I can smell the fart from here. And I'm looking at her. I'm like, you son of a bitch.
I can show you. My dog just took a shoe. There we go. She's got another shoe in her mouth. But at least she's not doing what yours did. And that's the thing too. Okay, so animals are so tuned in. This just brings me to a totally different subject of animal communication. I met a guy who he lives in Italy. He's incredible at literally, he just started noticing that when he would look at animals, he could hear their thoughts. And this is after he was doing a lot of intuitive development with healer Pat Longo, the late, great, wonderful, may she rest in peace, Pat Longo, author of Anxiety. Oh, sorry, The Gifts Beneath Your Anxiety. That's a great book, The Gifts Beneath Your Anxiety.
I
She
will
just
write that.
passed away last month, and she's phenomenal. But she helped a lot of people, and I met David in her international intuitive development class, and he and I were paired up to do some exercises. And it is a muscle that you have to practice every day, just like when you go to the gym, it gets stronger with routine usage. And so for David, the skill came through with animals, and he lives in Italy, so he's like in a cafe in Naples or Milan or whatever, and like he looks at the dog, and the dog is like, could you tell my owner that the collar is too tight? Like he's like, I'm like, this would make a really good show, right? I
Yeah.
mean, just getting that. And so he's like, well, how am I going to do that? So these kinds of people, these gifts are cracking open in regular everyday people. I must have from a interior decorator to a banker to a teacher. I have a medical doctor who's part of my spiritual social club whose hands just opened up and now she's seeing other dimensions. She's kind of like, I can't bring that up at in the doctor's office. She didn't want to lose her license, but yet now she does talk about the fact that she can heal with energy. So we have things going on with our mind, Cam, but then there's the physical body. And like you talked about Reiki, sometimes we got to get the issues out of our tissues.
Oh, totally.
Got to. We've got to, right? So how do you recommend people start down that if they're watching this or listening to this and they don't do that on a regular basis? What would you recommend?
Yeah, The Body Keeps the Score is a great book that talks about kind of the science behind that. It's a very thick one. You've read that book, right?
The body keeps score. Yeah, I read it a few years ago, but yeah, I need to revisit that.
It's very scientific, but I don't think that reading a book can beat your intuition ever.
Hmm.
So I think knowing what it is that you need when you need it
Right.
and taking care of yourself has to be priority number one. You have to fill your own cup up. And if your cup has holes or dirty water or not the right tea leaves, and you're not boiling that and fixing those things,
Right.
you're not going to get the benefits of even doing the tools, right? So that's what doing the work, that's what doing the shadow work is. But I will teach my clients about sprints, about meditation, about different forms of breath work, about EFT tapping. I'll
Right.
teach them about archetypes. I'll teach them where emotions get stored in the body, chakras, energetic meridians,
Right.
cold plunging, sauna, what workouts do. I'll teach them about the amygdala, the limbic system, the brain, all of their neurology. I'll talk about all of these different things.
Right.
Talk about different frequencies, right? The frequency of trees, why touching a tree will relieve your anxiety, grounding, all of
Hmm.
these.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
can give clients an abundance of different tools. And you know what? Some days I gotta pull out all of the tools for me just to get through the day.
Right. Right.
That's okay. It means that we're spiritual beings having a spiritual experience in human form, and it's supposed to be ugly and not messy. And then
Right.
hopefully when this is over, that's a good
Yeah.
part forever,
So
right?
Dr. Mary Helen Hensley, she had this near-death experience. She's amazing, and she does frequency healings and basically gives you like a prescription when you talk to her. She's fantastic, and she talks about the meat suit. And
Sure.
she's from the South, and she's like, "Got this meat suit." It's like real hard sometimes being the meat suit, and it is. It's like we have to remember these spiritual beings in this human experience flopping around in the meat suit, and sometimes. So to get grounded, like you're talking about, I was just in Pompeii leading this trip with the Spiritual Social Club members, and I saw this tree, and there's one of our members, and she lives in Europe. She's always taking pictures of these incredible trees and talking about how she puts her hand on them and feels the frequency of these trees. So I'm like, I gotta go hug that tree. And so my one friend was like, I'm not surprised, whatever. You do weird shit every time we're together. Go ahead, go hug that tree. And I was like, I could barely put my arms around it. I was like, oh, and I could feel this like buzzing. And so to anybody out there listening, if you walk every day, if you run every day, even if you're just like walking to the car, take a minute. Put your hand on the tree, the closest thing to a tree, even if it's a bush, and just feel and say, even just think, thank you. Just
Mhm,
that, thank you. That's
mhm.
literally starting your day. Talk about setting the intention. You're setting the intention for gratitude for the whole day just by touching a tree and saying, thank you. And I guarantee you that will set your day in a positive way in that light lane, like we talked about. And it will bring on other things to be grateful for. Because that's just the way of the universe, the laws of the universe, like begets like. It's cause and effect. People wonder, well, why are things not working out for me? And da 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 da. Well, maybe you contributed to this thing. So own your part and be like, okay, I get it. Probably not the best choice over there. I want to do differently now. I'm moving forward this way. Like accountability is so important, but so many people don't want it. It's like hot potato. They don't want to be accountable because it hurts too much. It brings up pain, right?
Yeah, they shirk it all the time.
Hmm. Hmm.
People love to remain. I teach the emotional guidance scale also,
Hmm.
which is great. I know you've come across that. But when people are like, oh, I just don't know how I'm feeling, I'm like, yes, you do. And then I teach them that they have to work themselves up the emotional guidance scale one by one.
Right.
And that being in the victimhood is just giving all of your power away, all of your autonomy, all of your authority. And you have to willingly work through. And I teach them to answer the five W's: who, what, when, where, why, how, like where in your body, when in your life, when in your day. Like if you can answer some of those questions about
Right.
that emotion processes, emotion is just energy in motion.
Right.
And if you can process that emotion throughout your body, you can move up the scale. But a lot of people like to give our power away and let somebody else carry us up to that scale to joy, love, freedom, authenticity, appreciation. We
Right.
like to meet somebody and they bring us up the scale and then we break up and then we fall down the scale. And we're like, well, why do we fall down the scale?
Right. Right.
Because
Exactly.
we're not doing the little things like you talk about.
So ending the day, I know how you start your day and like now how do you conclude your day? So for the listeners out there, how we start our day is as important as how we end it.
I agree. Yeah, I will pray at the end of the day. A lot of times I will schedule out my to-dos, and I will time block my day. So I'll create a piece of paper in my little notebook.
Yep.
I'll draw a line down the middle. I draw another horizontal line on the right side. So there's three boxes. I'll write the five things that I want to get done tomorrow, absolutely. And then on the bottom, the five things that I don't want to do tomorrow. And
Mhm.
then I'll look at my calendar and I'll schedule out my day. So I take out the decision fatigue from that.
Okay.
Uh, Prior military, I had a very, very robust morning and nighttime
Mhm. Mhm.
routine. It was awesome. I read a book called The 5 a.m. Club. So I did my 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. routine. And then
Yep.
I would run and then I'd meditate and then I'd do breath work. Then I'd cold shower. Then I'd do more breath work. And
Mhm.
then I'd listen to a book and I'd write my to-do list and I'd script how I wanted my day to go and blah, blah, blah. It was great, but it took
Right.
like 3 hours, right?
Right.
I
Right.
don't have that kind of time anymore. So um, those are great things. Anything that you can do consistently over time, that's how you move your life forward. Doesn't matter what it is.
I was cursing my sentence with the 5 of 55 because it wasn't just it was like a freaking monologue. And then to write that out 55 times and
Yeah.
then to say it 55 times, it's taking me like 40 minutes to start my day. I'm like, all right, note to self. The next time I do this, it's like, gotta be one
Yeah.
line and that's it.
Mine
Six,
is one, two, three, four, five, 6 words. So
6 words.
that,
Okay. Yeah.
that's a little bit easier, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
But
That,
again, set it and forget it. That's your intention for the day, and then you're done.
do you know you're quoting an infomercial with Ron Popeil and the rotisserie set it and forget it? Do you know that that's what?
Yeah, 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 of course. I love that. And there's a guy on YouTube, Master Sri Arkrishana, whatever it is, but
Yeah,
he
yeah.
has a lot of good stuff. Everything is just recycled from the past.
Of
And
course.
my
Of course.
other favorite manifesting routine is if you get a note card,
Okay.
right? Take a note card, write out what you want
Mhm.
on that note card, like it's already done. Put it on the bottom side of your pillow
Mhm.
so you sleep on it. But in the morning, you take it out, you read it 3 times
Mhm.
out loud And at the end of the day, you take it out, you read it out loud 3 times, and then you just mark a one. Do that for 30 days. I guarantee that thing that you want happens. That's the number one thing I've seen work.
So when it comes to something like that, would you recommend that people, like you say, thing that they want? Well, what if that thing is just like peace, right? Peace of mind instead of a thing like a car or a job or whatever or a partner. Like, just give me healing, right? Like sometimes I'll literally be like, it all starts in here. Dr. Sue Morter is another. I don't know if you're familiar with her work, but she talks about that anything outside is really what's inside and that's not healed. So anything that's out here that's pushing is something that's in it's because we're all one. It's like we are all one collective. They are you, you are them, and that is it. So what part of you have not gotten healed that they are reflecting back to you and reminding you, hey, this still isn't healed. So it's like that. So it's like she says, imagine them like in the doorway of the room, and there they are. Like they don't get to come too close. They're in the doorway, but it's like keeping them at the doorway and then reminding yourself of what part of you is being triggered by that doorway. And so that really helps me too, like just in understanding, oh, they're just reminding me of a part of me because they are me. And that's hard to get for some people who are so angry. Then when they're so angry
Oh,
at somebody over there, like, somebody's coming after you for money or someone's suing you or somebody, whatever, they're trying to make your life miserable. Like I have a friend, every time she moves, her neighbors are coming after her for like things in her lawn. I'm like, well, what is this? No matter where you go, there you are. So
yeah.
if you keep going to different neighborhoods and the same instance keeps popping up, what are you like projecting that's causing that, that's creating that? Like it's a co-creation. People don't take ownership for some of the disruptors in their life as something that maybe they could have been a collaborator in energetic. Does that make sense?
Oh, I completely agree. It's the same. I don't know who told me this concept or where I saw this, but somebody said the people that come into our lives to hurt us the most or trigger us the most are actually the ones that love us the most because they agreed to these contracts at the cosmic bus stop,
Right.
right? The
Mhm.
analogy that it was like before we incarnate, right? We're in
Right.
heaven or wherever, we're hanging out for a long time. And they're like, you know what? I want to go back and learn this lesson. We all meet up at this like cosmic bus stop.
Right.
And hey, here's my script. Who wants to play this part, right? Who wants to be
Right.
my wife? Who wants to be my husband? Who wants to divorce me and betray me and cheat on me?
Right.
Who wants to abuse me because I need to go to Earth to learn this lesson? And
Right.
I think about that and I'm like, okay, well, the people who hurt us the most or trigger us the most,
Right.
what if they're actually the people that love us the most in the afterlife?
Right.
Or really, really did us a solid and said, man, you really taught me that lesson. I'm like,
That's so
okay,
funny you say that because yeah, I was just saying that to a friend that afterwards, it's like the after show with the director is going giving notes, like at a rehearsal, be like, "Oh, dude, you were such a dick in Act 4. That was awesome. Like it was great." And okay, you know what? You were a real bitch in Act 7. Well done. That was beautiful. Like just everybody signed up for this. They were following their script, and to think that we cast them to do these things, if we could just get to that part, I know it's hard to imagine, but I believe that too when I'm in the meat suit, though, it's really hard to think like I really like I think about that. I signed up for this. If I'm sitting at Thanksgiving with people screaming at each other, I'm like, really? I ordered these people? Are you kidding me right now? It's
I
like, no,
know.
yeah,
I
no.
ordered these people. That's
This
that's
is
great.
does not feel like the life I ordered. All right, so I want everybody to reach out to you because the thing that's so cool is you also just like if people have just one question, like people can just get one question answered, or they can have a one-on-one with you, or they can do them in a package. They can do them in 30-minute increments. So hold on, now my dog, she's just deciding that she wants to get in my lap. So this is what she does. Okay,
Classic.
hold on, Chip. Hold on. This is Birdie. Say hi to Birdie. Sorry.
Yep.
Here we go, Bird. Come on, down you go. All right. So ckcollective.co, ckcollective.co. Following Cam, you can follow him in social media, but also just going on the website. People can book with you directly there. And how else are you like a traveling show in the sense that you could be for hire for events? Like I told you, we want you for the All Souls retreat and coming up. We want to talk to you about that. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah.
You do public speaking? Do you do that stuff too?
Yeah, I have before, especially when I worked in advertising as a new business director. Not so much for this because I've been doing this for 5 years now, and I would love to do that, right? Like I really want to help people and grow this area of other people's lives as well. It's very rewarding, as you know.
Mhm.
So I'd like to write, I'd like to speak, and anything that comes my way, I'm open to it. Obviously, my schedule is dependent. I'm,
Right.
away for half the year, every year for the next couple of years.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to figure out some time constraints with that. But going forward, like this is going to be something that I do for a very long time. Like I want to build an enterprise out of this and build a great community. So yeah, I'm always open. Just reach out to me. And I have text orders now. I get a lot of video orders for people just wanting like a 3 to 5 minute, hey, what do you think about this? And cool, I can break that down. And now
Okay.
there's a text thing that because I you get so many DMs, I get so many DMs, and it's
Great.
like, okay, well, now there's an order for that because now I can process that when I'm actually at my computer. No one wants to be on their phone all day. So hit
Great.
me up, send me a message. All the links are there, and I feel like I price myself really affordable for the things that I provide. So
You. Yeah,
it's
and that's one of the things that's so cool because when I see people get to a certain price point, I get we all have to be paid for our time. You pay the doctor, you pay the mechanic, you pay the accountant. But when people price themselves, so high that it just makes it impossible for a regular person who's, trying to feed their family to be able to get that kind of guidance. And I really appreciate people who are in the affordable zone, which I definitely think you are, and well worth it. So well done on you for doing that. And I hope that people who are watching this will take advantage of that. ckcollective.co. We will make sure that we get you to some sort of live event, if not one, hopefully to a few. And also, somebody just sent me this that I just want to share as like a closing sort of manifesting surrender. Because right now we're having this conversation between the Lionsgate. I don't know if you're familiar with what Lionsgate is, but 8/8 is the big day, the big date for Lionsgate. And I think it starts, I don't know. It's a 2 week stretch of when things are really kind of ripe for manifesting and sort of surrendering to what's coming. So I like this. Show me what's no longer meant for me and give me the strength to let it go. Okay, that was one. And then teach me through peace, not pain. I am listening now.
mm,
A good one. And then I like this one. Put me in alignment with what's already mine. I'm really ready to receive without resistance. Like just ready to receive without resistance. So maybe those are some, we can put those under the pillow, right? Oh,
yeah.
come on, put that down. Now she's got my other pair of glasses. Drop it, drop it, drop it. See, drop it.
Class.
No, classic, girl.
Both both my dogs like to be right around me whenever we're doing a podcast or anything. So I'm like, they just
Like
think
your
I'm
dog,
talking to
bookend.
them the whole time, but
I love it. Bookends. Well, Cam, I'm so glad we could find some time. Thanks for making the time. I'm really, really grateful for all that you're putting out there. And we're just going to have to keep the conversation going in different formats. So keep being you, keep changing lives, keep raising your frequency, and let's not make this the last time we chat.
all right, Jen. Thank you so much for having me. Have a good night.
That